Hello, golf fans, and welcome to the final match of the 118th United States Amateur Championship. The location, Carmel, California, the Pebble Beach Golf Links. The prize, the golden guardian of this championship, the Havemeyer Trophy, weighs a little over 5 pounds, but its figurative heft is unimaginable. Success here is measured in dreams, not dollars, memories rather than money. It's a championship that carries a great deal of weight. The biggest names in the game of golf, titans and legends, Jones, Nicklaus, Palmer, Tiger, they've all won here. And today, two of the best young amateurs in the world will battle mano a mano to see who will hoist the great trophy. Ned Michaels alongside Ewan Porter, a terrific scene here on the first tee, Ewan. They've earned the right, these two players, to be here.
They certainly have, Ned, and there's absolutely no question about that. Both of these players, so talented, have played some wonderful golf to this point. Viktor HOVLAND from Norway, the first Norwegian to make the final of any USGA championship, and he's looking to become the 7th European. H.J. Wigham, Finlay Douglas, Harold Hilton, and in more recent times, Eduardo Molinari, Richie Ramsey, and Matthew Fitzpatrick, the 7th European to win this United States Amateur Championship. And of course, then there's Devon BLING, number 302 in the World Amateur Golf Ranking, unheralded, coming into this week to the golfing public, but to those who know him, not so much. He is one talented individual with a great head on his shoulders.
Reminder of the format, 36 holes today will be played. Teeing off here in just a couple of minutes. They will have a break between rounds and tee off again at 1 o'clock. That's Pacific time. Breeze laying down this morning, but the coldest of all the days we've had so far. You will see some toboggan caps out. And a moment of scare there for Devon BLING.
Welcome to the championship match of the 118th U.S. Amateur Championship, conducted by the United States Golf Association and hosted by Pebble Beach Golf Links. 7,463 players entered the championship, with 312 players qualifying to compete in the championship proper. After 36 holes of stroke play, the low 64 players began match play, and each player competing in the finals today has won 5 matches in order to advance to this point. Please welcome the players. From Ridgecrest, California, Devon BLING. From Norway, Viktor HOVLAND. The referee for this match is Mark Reineman. Devon BLING has the honor. Play away, please.
Well, Ewan, you can tell who has at least the most vocal gallery out today. And it was Devon BLING with a moment of panic just 5 minutes ago. Couldn't find his yardage book. Sent his buddy back to the room to get it. Long iron, as he's done every day here. This headed down the left side. We need to get down. Oh, and it landed softly just in the first cut, but a little bit of a nervy start.
Oh, this first hole playing a lot longer than its 380 yards today, playing slightly into the breeze, but the heavy air going slightly uphill. We've seen the players hit wedges, sand wedges in here over the previous days today. Perhaps like a 7 or an 8 iron in there.
pure right down the middle, and we're off.
Net, always a great feeling to get that first tee shot out of the way. Out of the 36 holes that these players will potentially be playing or more, that's the one shot that you most probably think about the Saturday night before going to bed.
Well, you've been on your mind, keeping you up all night, wouldn't it have been? You see that yardage book, that green yardage book in his back left pocket. That was the one he couldn't find. Crucial to his success because it's the one that he reads the greens by. The Strachan yardage book he was talking about. You should have seen the panic on his face. Hollering at his buddies, his friends in the gallery. Anybody seen my book? It's truly a championship where history outweighs the hype. When you put your hands on the Havmeyer Trophy and you hoist it above your head, think about who has also won here. Only 100 men have felt those emotions of hoisting the United States Amateur Trophy. Breeze kind of whipping around a little bit, Ewing, into the face off the players, but out of the ocean as well. Yesterday, hit long iron, did Devon BLING. The ball skittered all the way up, almost into the bunker. Today,
well, back there on the tee, remember I said it was playing a little bit longer and these players were hitting wedges and sand wedges in here, and it's only 380 yards. Devon BLING has 192 yards to the flag, so he's only hit that tee shot just under 190 yards. So a very nervy miss-hit down the left side to begin, but out of the rough, the ball will tend to fly a little bit further, but got to think he's going to be going in here with a 6 or a 7 iron. Very, very different complexion to the opening couple days. And there he is, he's pulled the 6 iron.
whole location in the back center, which works to his advantage here. 6 iron, Cumble knuckling out of the wet rough, can land it on the front of the green. Greens will still have some bounce even though it's early in the morning. We there feel that little gust into our face coming off the ocean. A little bit of indecision early for the Ridgecrest California native. Solid contact, leaking out to the right just a bit. A squirrely little hop and into the sand it goes. Now Viktor HOVLAND, Ewing some 20 yards closer. He's a surgeon who uses irons, not scalpels. 30 birdies he's made already this week, 1 eagle, and he's back at it again this morning. For Devin Bling, 18 years old, a rising sophomore at UCLA. Opened with 75 and 70 in the stroke play, was the 41st seed in the field. Beat Shintaro Bond, number 9, in his round of 64. Has also taken down Noah Goodwin, the 8th seed, competing in his 3rd United States Golf Championship. A couple of times has advanced to the match play in the U.S. Junior Amateur Championship, but this by far the farthest. Unimaginable, he said. Beyond his expectations. But sometimes fate has its own mind made up at the beginning of the week. Each player is assigned a locker. Whose locker did Devin Bling get? None other than the great Arnold Palmer. You in a bit of an inauspicious start here for Devin Bling.
Yeah, it certainly has been a little scrappy, Ned. But he gets this up and down. And Viktor doesn't hole his putt. You almost got to think that's a big confidence booster, so it's an opportunity for Devin Bling. Even if Devin Bling puts this close to the hole, makes 4, and loses the hole, it's still a bit of a confidence builder. Perfect lie in the bunker. We'll only be able to see the top half of the flagstick. And that's a pretty good shot from where he was. I believe Hovland will be away, putting first for his birdie. He's going to have a slick putt, Ned, downhill, slightly left to right. But a good shot from Bling.
Well, trying to pick up right where he left off yesterday. 6 birdies in his final 7 holes as he took care of Cole Hammer. It has been nothing short of spectacular from the Norwegian all week long.
Well, you referenced the amount of birdies made, Ned. Viktor Hovland in the match play alone, 25 birdies and an eagle in 73 holes played. Now he's played 73 holes. Devin Bling has played 88 holes. Viktor Hovland hasn't played the 18th hole in match play yet. Devin Bling's played it 4 times.
Well, that's right. Over dinner, we were talking about that. Was it an advantage or a disadvantage? For Devin Bling, I have to think if it comes down to it on that 36th hole later this afternoon, to have played it 4 times and won it 3, to extend the match and close out matches, I think he would be very comfortable in that situation.
Well, I believe that Devin Bling may actually be away first here. And you can see he's being very meticulous and methodical about this putt. Really trying to feel it out, and his putt will be downhill and moving slightly to his left, taking a lot of time, Ned.
It's the first hole, and you certainly don't want to give one away. Make your opponent earn it at least. That's the assistant coach at UCLA. They call him Larkin.
Why is that? Is that because his last name's Larkin?
Yeah, but they don't ever know. I don't think any of the teammates know his first name. It's like Madonna, he just has one name, Larkin.
Well, I've got to think if this man makes the PGA Tour, he may just go by one name, Bling. Is to open up with a par and put the pressure on Hovland who has a birdie putt to come. Well, that's a very nervy beginning for Devin. But he's going to make Hovland earn the win. 2 putts, 7 or 8 feet. And it's a good opportunity for Hovland to get the speed right.
I think for Devin BLING, it's also a good opportunity to get an extra few minutes to gather yourself. Was flustered back on the first tee, so I think he's using this to calm himself down as much as anything else.
It's good enough for Hovland. 1 up through 1. Yesterday, Ned, we spoke about Coach Alan Bratton. Coach Alan Bratton, the caddy this week for Viktor HOVLAND. He's the coach at Oklahoma State. Alan Bratton played the PGA Tour in 1999 and actually had a top 25 at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am that year. So very familiar with the golf course. Players making their way back to the second tee, the 502-yard par 4. And for you viewers who are familiar with Pebble Beach and this layout, this is typically a par 5. Typically a par 5 in the AT&T Pro-Am every year. Par 4s during big championships. But, Ned, the amount of times that we've seen players hit woods and long irons in here over the years, yet this week seems to be mid to short irons, just how far these players are driving the ball.
Well, it was in the playoff for Devin BLING in the quarterfinals. Feathered a 9-iron in. Viktor, though, already 1 up. Par on the first. This headed left towards the bunker. He was there yesterday, Ewing. And may find the same fate again today. He was in his match yesterday against Cole Hammer. Hammer hit it out of bounds. And Devin, just the 3rd bogey that he has made in his last 25 holes. How will he respond? Just leaking down the right side, doing clicks the cart path, and the search party now out for the ball of Devin BLING. If they found it, it's okay. The top of the mound, just inside the road. That is a boundary road, but presumably playable. Couple of loose swings, or maybe tight swings, Ewing, from the young UCLA Bruin.
Well, yesterday when Cole Hammer hit it out of bounds here, we had a little discussion about what's the mentality, having played such good golf, having really not made too many loose swings throughout the championship. Now, Devin BLING in this case has been playing fantastic golf. Yesterday he played Isaiah Salinder. Isaiah Salinder shot a 4 under par and was beaten. Not much you can do about that. But Devin BLING, warm up this morning, very solid. Was absolutely flushing it on the range. And here he is, having made a couple of loose swings to start. What do you think? What's he thinking now? Is he thinking this is a technical problem? Does he understand that the scope of the situation may be forcing him to just lose a little bit of timing?
Well, that has to be it, right? Because on the range, they both looked like they were in complete control of their games. It wasn't much chatter. It was quiet, serious. A little bit tighter than it had been over the past couple of days, early in the morning. But again, Ewing, I'll reference the fact that couldn't find his yardage book before he teed off. Kind of a glimpse into the mind of where Devon BLING may have been. And that will fluster a player. Where's my yardage book? Or I forgot my sweater. You know, there are little things like that that can set you off the wrong way, in the wrong direction when you begin a round, and it takes a few holes to put them behind you. This second hole acts like the bouncer at a bar for this golf course. No riffraff gets past this second hole. If you're going to make your way through with a par 4 today, you have to be the part. You can't act the part. It protects this first 7 holes. 4 of the most easy holes on the golf course are found in 1 through 7. The 3rd and 4th, certainly birdie opportunities. The 6th, the easiest hole on the golf course. And the 7th, the little flirtatious par 3 down the hill. This morning will certainly be open for business.
Well, Viktor HOVLAND was in this fairway bunker yesterday. Ned, you questioned his decision. Viktor and his caddy yelling out to Devin, who's first. Devin completely oblivious.
98, 198.
Okay. Well, you just heard there, Devon BLING's 198. Viktor HOVLAND has 203 out of the fairway bunker. You questioned his decision going for it yesterday, Ned. In this position, he has to go for it today. He's actually got a good angle, and the lip shouldn't be a problem. 203. He's got a 5-iron.
Remember, I said it came off a little more left than he thought. So he will have hit this shot, I would imagine, somewhere up around the green. He's comfortable with it now.
Do well to get it all the way back to the flag. It's just slightly into a little bit of breeze. Well, he's caught it flush, but this one heading a little bit right, maybe a little short as well. And it looks like he's caught the front bunker. That's going to be a tough, long bunker shot. Perhaps a slight opening for Devon BLING. However, Devon BLING in the rough with the ball above his feet. He's going to have his hands full getting this one onto the putting surface. And he's been quite fortunate here, Ned, really. His tee shot could have found the fairway bunker. It could have easily hit the path and gone out of bounds. This one heading a little bit left. That's caught the front left bunker, Ned. So both players with long bunker shots. Remember yesterday when HOVLAND came out of that left fairway bunker, he hit it into the same bunker that Devon BLING is in there, and his ball buried quite severely on the upslope. So the fact he's in the front right bunker will be interesting to see whether the ball has the same fate or whether it's going to be a good clean lie. Either way, Devon BLING, his second bunker shot in 2 holes.
hear some of the gallery, and it's quite sizable for early in the morning, 7:30 tee-off time. A little bit of murmuring going around saying, well, he shouldn't have missed that first fairway with an iron. Of course, that was Devon BLING pulling it left. So his fans a little bit antsy, but fear not, because the young man, the UCLA Bruin, I got a feeling he'll get his feet up under him pretty quickly. And when he does, look out. Yesterday he made 7 birdies in his first 14 holes. Hole location today on the second. 3/4 of the way back, but tucked behind the bubble of the bunker. A little bit of a force field. We'll kick it back to the edge of the green. Hard to get this shot close.
Got you guys. Victor, it's you guys. Yep.
This has been the hardest hole on the golf course all week. Caught a lot of ball. Sends it over the green. Now for Devon BLING, digging in quickly. Moves decisively, does the young man. Some kind of sorcery from BLING. And into the driver's seat firmly now. HOVLAND long to the green. Can get it up and down, though. Has a chance. Just depends on whether Ewing made its way all the way to the tall grass. It guards the backside of this putting surface.
Well, he is going to be playing off an upslope, HOVLAND. He's got a very tough one where it's going to be downhill once it hits the green, so he's going to have a difficult time keeping it near the hole. But if he can somehow manage to use that wizardry of short game of his to make a bogey, he's still in with a chance of halving this hole. Whoa, big swing from HOVLAND. Oh, he almost slam dunked it. That ball 12 feet past the hole, and he's going to be first to putt. Definitely a nervous start for both of these players. But once again, Ned, you look at this as an opportunity for HOVLAND to perhaps hold this, make a bogey. Should BLING miss, he will feel like it is a huge squandered opportunity. On the other hand, if BLING should capture this hole, he's got to be thinking, I've played probably my worst 2 holes of the week, and I'm square after 2. I'm not overly surprised at this beginning. This is uncharted territory for both players. Hovland currently number 5 in the World Amateur Golf rankings, but really doesn't have too many major victories to his credit. He has been a runner-up in 2 of the last 3 European Amateur Championships, so he's certainly put himself in position in these big-time championships. But this is the biggest stage, the ultimate test of amateur golf. You think about all the golf they've played, 2 rounds of stroke play. This is the 6th round of match play. It's a physical test. It's a mental test. By this point in the week, they've used every club in the bag. Bogey putt for Viktor HOVLAND on number 2.
So nothing doing here at the second for HOVLAND. Bling will have 2 putts for the win to knot the match back at all square. Just trying to whisper this one close to the hole. Don't get too feisty or finicky. Out to the right, breaking across the hole, but gets the job done. So punch, counter punch on the first 2 holes. Back to all square. And we head to the 3rd, where yesterday the teeing ground was moved up. Players were taking hybrids and 3-woods. We saw HOVLAND take a little 3/4 driver. You asked him, how can you control your adrenaline to hit a 3/4 driver? He said, well, I was just trying to land it short of the green and bumble it up to the front, and I may have carried it 15 yards farther than I meant to, and it flew into the bunker. Hit a miraculous sand shot to gimme distance, and got off to a hot start against young Cole Hammer.
The 3rd hole, Ned, 404-yard par 4. 280 yards to reach the fairway bunker on the right. A lot of players will take 3-wood off the tee and aim it towards that fairway bunker and try and turn it just a little right to left, leave themselves a wedge into this hole. You may recall back in the 2000 US Open when Tiger Woods just won by 15 strokes. He actually made a triple bogey on this hole in round 3. Dustin Johnson in 2010, final round, leading the US Open. Tried to bite off a little more than he could chew with the drive, lost his ball down the left-hand side. Devon BLING has chosen the 3-wood. But Ned, both of these players 2 over par after 2 holes. Devon BLING, bogey, Viktor HOVLAND, par, double. But it doesn't matter, they're all square. It'll be a mental test, a mental challenge for both of these players because they're so used to making birdies and destroying the opposition. Straight down to pick up the tee for Devon BLING. And that straight towards the bunker on the right. It has found the bunker. So that is 3 bunkers in 3 holes for Devon BLING. I won't use the famous Happy Gilmore line. More time in the sand than David Hasselhoff, although I did just use it. Viktor HOVLAND, he has taken the driver. He's going to take a more aggressive line. I like this, Ned. I like it. He's taking it on, taking the bull by the horns. And he has taken that over the trees on the left. And he loves it. It's about a 291-yard carry over that tree to reach the fairway.
Well, for Hovland, Ewing, he hasn't trailed a match going all the way back to the round of 32, the second hole against Harrison Ott. A 7-6 Viktor over Squires. And a 7-6 Viktor in the quarterfinals. And in that match against Harrison Ott, it was on the second hole where he was one down. And that was the only time. He immediately got it back to all square and then went on to win the match. So as you have pointed out already, uncharted territory for both of these men. A double and a couple of bogeys. You liked that play, did you, for Viktor Hovland, going over the top of the trees? I was a little bit nervous for him, but with his opponent in the sand, perhaps the right play?
Well, you got to look at it this way. Devon BLING in the bunker now has about 140 yards to the hole, maybe a little bit longer. We're not quite up to his ball yet. Viktor Hovland has challenged the trees and challenged the left-hand side, even if he bites off a little bit too much and ends up in the left-hand rough. Plenty of green to work with only a little short pitch with a sand wedge. So when your ball is up there 80 yards in front of your opponent, that's got to play on your mind a little bit, especially when you're coming out of the sand.
It does bode the question, though. Is this a sprint or a marathon? 36 holes. Every hole has the same value, but later in the match, the pressure gets a little more amped up. Have to conserve your energy throughout the day, Ewing, but at the same time, every hole so crucial. Kind of a nasty looking thing for Devon BLING in the downslope, ball covered in sand. Hole location tucked behind the yawning bunker that guards the front right portion of this green. Keeping this on the putting surface would be pretty spectacular.
Devin has 158 yards. Ned, I would think that the play here would be towards that left corner of the green. Perhaps try and hit it slightly left to right, but anywhere on the left portion of the green on the putting surface would be a wonderful result from here. Either way, Viktor Hovland currently in the box seat here on number 3.
Just over the bunker on the front edge of the green. The gallery approves, and why not? A couple of the gallery members saying, this guy's the man, that's why. What a scene. Third hole early in the match, all square. Pebble Beach.
What about this tee shot from Viktor HOVLAND? 401 yards. Cold, heavy air. He's only about 35, 40 yards from the front of the green. He's got about 55 yards to the hole. Now, the one thing he's got to be very careful of here, Ned, with that whole location on the back, he cannot go long. He cannot afford to have a little adrenaline rush, because if he's over the back, he short-sides himself.
And this green a little more firm than you might think at times, and fast in the back. Just a little bit right. We'll take a left bounce. Expertly played, keeping it below the hole. Taking the back of the green out of play. Now both players safely aboard. Ewing, this golf course designed in 1919 has stood the test of time, hosting its 14th USGA championship. It's soon to be 6th United States Open championship next summer in June. Fair to say, one of the most iconic venues in all of American golf. Almost 8,000 competitors began in qualifying, and we are down to the final 2. An 18-year-old and a 20-year-old. Both with coaches, the respective universities on the bag.
There were 2 players in this championship, aged 14. We had 3 competitors aged in their 60s. Paul Simpson, the oldest at 67. But the average age of the competitor out of the 312 players that began this championship, 22.5. Both players underneath that average. It is a young man's game. We've seen the talent on display, how far they're all hitting the ball yesterday. Cole Hammer, the age of 18. One of the competitors. Devon BLING, 35 feet up the hill, should be moving from his right to left. This for a birdie on number 3, currently all square through 2 holes. Understandably, just a hair tentative, but a pretty good roll.
Lucas Glover, the 2009 United States Open champion, once told me, you know where you can get good rolls? The bakery. It's a good putt if it goes in. Hovland yesterday told us the reason he hasn't won more often is because his putter hasn't cooperated under pressure. So far this week, he has made more than his fair share. It has been the best club, the most dangerous weapon in his bag. We will see, will it stand up to the pressure of the finals of the United States Amateur? If there's a chink in his armor, that will be the first place it shows.
The last US Amateur Championship that was played here back in 1999, the final, David Gossett defeated Sung Yoon Kim in that final, 9-8. So we have seen blowouts here before. Both of these players looking slightly nervous to begin with. But I like the way Hovland has approached this hole, being a little more aggressive. And the great thing about this layout here at Pebble Beach is that you can be aggressive and you can be rewarded.
A little bit of a double breaker this to go 1 up. just wanders off to the right. Wasn't the most committed stroke you've ever seen. Concedes Bling's par. Couple of fours. Hank Aaron, 44. And we remain all square now through 3.
Ned, we've mentioned on multiple occasions this week how one of the great aspects of the United States Golf Association is that they move the teeing grounds around on a lot of these holes. And as we make our way to the 4th, the par 4, 340 yards from the back, however, we are walking to the front of the teeing ground, and these players are going to be tempted into going for the green. You've got the ocean there on the right-hand side. Today, the hole playing 292 yards, slightly up the hill. So both of these players have the ability to be able to reach the putting surface, and I expect both of them to go for the green, although it could be situational. Devin Bling will have the honor. Let's see what he does, and then Viktor will certainly make his mind up after that. But both with the firepower in their arsenal to be hitting their tee shots on the green on this par 4.
The 1961 United States Amateur was held here, won by Jack Nicklaus. He mentioned the 3rd as one of his most favorite match play holes for the exact reasons you just discussed, Ewing. Presents the player with so many options and decisions to make. If you're Devin Bling, you've hit one driver, flared it out to the right. It seems improbable that he might pull the big stick. And perhaps a little bit of gamemanship, but Viktor already has his driver out. Doesn't mean he's going to hit it, but he's showing his cards, perhaps on purpose. .292 yards, uphill, likes to play a fade, and he has skinned that smoke wagon. Headed up the left side, drifting back towards the hole. Just catches the right edge of the front bunker, but in a good position nonetheless.
That was a fantastic shot from Devin Bling, and one of the reasons that he was aiming left there, because a normal driver for Devin Bling would have been a little too much club. 3 would probably not enough, so he just took a little off that. But that's 4 bunkers in 4 holes. Andrew Larkin getting very good at raking bunkers. Oh, and Hovland, he was aiming that one right. And that is, I believe, down into the ocean. It's certainly been signaled up at the green that it's headed down that way. But an interesting one there, Ned, that Hovland seemed to be aiming well to the right. I'm not sure whether he was trying to hit a draw or whether he was just trying to hit a little pull back towards the target. But either way, advantage, Devin Bling.
That was curious, wasn't it? I used to have a coach by the name of John Busick who ran with the Harmon boys for a number of years. And he said, when your lines get crossed up, bad things happen. Well, Hovland's feet were pointed right, his shoulders left. And he's found the ocean. There is a little bit of beach down there. There's a chance that he might have a shot. Depends on whether it got hung up in the high grass or not. A reminder, Ewan, that next year we'll be at Pinehurst #2 for this championship, and the year after out to Bandon Dunes. Last year, the Riviera outside of Los Angeles, Doc Redman. What a comeback it was over Doug Gim. 60 feet for eagle on the 35th hole, a birdie on the 18th, and winning in a playoff. Redman not here to defend. It decided to turn professional. Quiet out now. The only sounds the waves just splashing the shore here on Stillwater Cove. "35 players were exempt into the field. Had the top 5 world amateurs here, but they were all gone except for one man, Viktor HOVLAND. Have to watch your step over here.
I can like hold on to this. Yeah, you can prevent yourself from falling, absolutely. Be careful.
Oh, please be careful, young man. That was yours from yesterday, Ewing. Guess we were all young once. It is playable. And he's got a dead patch of ice plant behind it.
Does he come back up and get the club and go back down there? Or does he get thrown the club down there?
Because we know Coach Bratton isn't walking it down.
Well, our first real bit of excitement for the day here, Ned. You can see Hovland's trying to get a line as to where he needs to go, because obviously from there all he can see is the sky directly above him. But a lucky break here.
And if you've ever played out of ice plant, you know it's a tricky animal. If you haven't, it's like putting a golf ball at the bottom of your sock drawer and trying to blast it out. If 100% goes 15 yards, you need about 150% because it is thick, wet, and like deep heather, it turns the face over. But this is doable off the upslope. Take your sand wedge or maybe even your gap wedge because you've already got so much loft off of the hill. He's going to take it right over Coach Bratton. Blast away. This is doable as long as he doesn't fall. Okay, in position. Reminder, we're to the right of the 4th. Took driver. Coach Bratton says good luck. Second shot. It's up. It's over. Magic.
Viktor Houdini. That is the shot of the championship thus far. Viktor Hovland to 3.5 feet. He's walking down there. I was more fearing for his life than anything else. And here he is with an opportunity, perhaps, to win the hole. What a shot, Ned Michaels.
I thought he could get it on the green, but my goodness, never to that distance. Now for Devon BLING. In my mind, I'm saying, okay, nice shot, Viktor. Watch what I can do. Has to answer that. No, he's carried us too far. You could hear the thump of the ball. The greens, even though it's moist and cold out, still have some bounce and firmness into them. Ewing, you couldn't pay me to get down to where that ball was. I need rappelling gear and 4 spotters. HOVLAND scampers down, takes his wedge, and somehow finagles it onto the green 3.5 feet. As you said, Viktor Houdini HOVLAND.
Wow. What a turn of events. Walking up here, I'm sure Devon BLING Ned thought, I've got this one. I have the opportunity here to be one up in the US Amateur Final. Now Devon BLING with 18 feet downhill, slick downhill breaking, right to left putt. Most probably to halve the hole. Viktor HOVLAND 3 feet away for a birdie. Wow, is all I can say.
This is one of the most difficult holes and greens to read. Always seems to do the opposite of what you might think. This working from his right to left. And very fast once it gets to the hole on a good line. Oh, he was giving it the knee bend body English. And that will be outside of HOVLAND's ball. Now what to do here, Ewing? If BLING goes first, which is, he will be away. It appears to be standing on HOVLAND's mark. And if I'm in match play and my opponent wants me to do that, I might dig in a little bit. I'm certainly not making any concessions with my footwork. For par. Driver into the front left bunker, blasted past the hole. Eased his first putt, 3.5 feet by the cup, in for 4. But wouldn't this be some kind of birdie 3 from the young Norwegian?
This is the 95th hole that Viktor HOVLAND has played at Pebble Beach this week. 1 eagle. This for his 31st birdie. Yep, you heard that right. This to go 1 up. Unbelievable birdie. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new Houdini.
HOVLAND 3. HOVLAND is 1 up.
Norwegian wizard Ian Woosnam was known as the Welsh wizard. We have a Norwegian wizard now. And he has taken the lead once again here in the final of the 118th playing of the United States Amateur Championship at Pebble Beach Golf Links. The fifth hole, the teeing ground right near the fourth green, 195 yards to the middle of the green. The hole location back today, 205 to the pin, and that flagstick, Ned Michaels, looming there right next to the cliff.
Well, Victor not worried about it. If he hits it down the cliff, he just makes birdie. The thing about that shot wasn't that it was undoable, but it was the ease with which he accomplished the feat.
He's got a 6-iron in the ideal shot here, just a little left to right slider. Oh, this one's down the cliff. Oh, well, I thought it was down the cliff. It landed on the very right edge of the green, and it may be okay, just off the back right. Be in the rough. But a very aggressive line there from Viktor HOVLAND. I got to say, I do like how aggressive he's playing, Ned.
Of course you do. Some may call it reckless, but it's working out.
This ball heading a little left. In fact, quite a ways left, but it's taken a beautiful bounce down to the right onto the putting surface. Little local knowledge there from Devon BLING, Ned Michaels.
Speaking of local knowledge, the great Bobby Clampett joins us now. A man who has haunted these grounds for many a year, many a win. Bobby, you know this golf course so well. What's the secret to match play and winning?
Well, I'll tell you what, you really have to play the golf course like you would in medal play, I think. And just look for your best opportunity. You know, where they just put the tees up there on number 4, I thought it was a great play by the USJ to move the tee up and challenge the players and give them a fairly easy hole placement today. But, you know, Pebble is one of those golf courses when the greens are firm like this, Ned, you know, you've got to be able to put yourself in a position where you can spin the ball. And if you're in a position where you can't spin it to some of these hole placements, you're going to be out to lunch. So a lot of these, even though you can drive the green on number 4, I thought the play there was actually laying it up. I was surprised both of them went for the green.
Come on and walk with us. We'll keep up with our camera crew. It's a golf course that yields birdies, but at the same time is dangerously close to double bogeys and pickups, and especially in match play. In the morning plays so different than the afternoon.
Yeah, the golf course will play a lot longer this morning than it will in the afternoon. The fog should burn, and temperatures should be a little bit warmer this afternoon, and the winds can change quite a bit. Typically, you see the winds coming out of the east in the morning like they are right now, and then in the afternoon through what we call katabatic wind currents, the wind will shift and come more out of the west as the inlands heat up. And that's typical this time of year on the Monterey Peninsula. But it's just great to be able to be out here and watch 36 holes, these two players going at it, and watch their strategies and how they go about it.
Is this 36-hole final a marathon or a sprint?
No, it's definitely a marathon. You have to pace yourself, and you really have to, as a player, you have to have that mentality that you're playing the golf course, and you play what the golf course gives you, and at the end you count it up and see how you did against your opponent. But it's not necessarily playing your opponent. I think the golf course has to be played first.
And while this, in a way, doesn't make any sense because every hole has the same value, are there 3 or 4 holes, is there a certain stretch to you that will prove the most pivotal to deciding this match?
Wow. Well, certainly when you get holes 8, 9, and 10, I think there's 3 of the greatest and toughest par 4s in the game. And those 3 holes seem to be the kind of holes that certainly in metal play they can come up and grab you in a hurry. But always, there's not a bad hole at Pebble Beach, is there?
We look over the cliffs here at the 5th, the 7th teeing ground off in the distance, sitting out on the point. Shortest club you've ever hit, longest club you've ever hit on the 7th?
On the 7th, well, 60-degree sand wedge, obviously. Never have putted it like Sam Snead did down the Carpez in the old days when the winds were really blowing. He just purposely putted it down there into the front bunker and got it up and down for 3. 4 iron is the longest club we've ever hit, in the number 7. In the U.S. Open in 2000, I hit 7 iron in the 3rd round, and it was blowing pretty hard. And it was, I think, 106 yards that day downhill, and it was a 7 iron.
Okay, read this putt for me. Viktor BLING has, or excuse me, Devon BLING, Viktor HOVLAND just off the edge of the green, but this for a birdie.
This isn't that hard of a putt. It breaks quite a bit, probably 4.5 feet left or right as it comes. He's on the top tier, and all the break there is in the beginning part of this putt, and then as it gets to the hole, it's pretty straight. But it's not a really hard putt. It was actually a pretty good play that he made, hitting a shorter club off the tee to play for the fat left side of the green.
And just not enough juice there, and still work left for his par.
That putt actually starts uphill a little bit as it gets to the hole. I don't think he knew that. That was pretty badly misjudged to leave yourself 6 feet short on that putt.
Now the pitch shot for HOVLAND.
He's coming out of what we call the second cut, don't we? And deeper fescue. It's actually a pretty easy shot because it's straight up the hill.
This short game wizardry continues. Bobby Clampett, thank you so much for spending a few times with us here on Facebook and our USGA coverage early here from the final match of the United States Amateur.
We're going to be covering them when we get to the Masters, aren't we, now?
You better believe it. These 2 young players will have the opportunity to experience something you did as an amateur as well.
I got to play the Masters twice as an amateur, and I got in the first time by finishing semifinalist in this amateur championship. Now you have to make it to the finals in order to get the invitation.
It's the hardest ball to get an invitation to. Tendency to underread this.
Well, it's from where he is, it's left edge and a little uphill. And this is kind of a critical point in the match, really, because of what Huffing did on the last hole and starting to build momentum. Huffing's probably going to make par, and so this is really a must-make for Devin BLING right now.
And make it he does.
That's really a character that he has portrayed all week. He's a fighter. He's not going to give up. He's going to grind it out no matter what.
Already 4 times has gone to the 18th hole in his matches to extra holes on 1 occasion. And each time he's played that 18th, he's made par or birdie and won the hole. This for par. Not quite as dramatic as the last, but still an up and down. Bobby, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the championship, my friend.
Thank you, Ned. You too.
Well, what a huge putt that was there for Devin BLING. That could have potentially been 2 holes in a row where Devin BLING was staring down the barrel of a loss after Viktor HOVLAND hit 2 shots either down the cliff or lurking very close to it. But in the end, it's 2 pars on the 5th hole, and Viktor HOVLAND from Norway. He's 1 up through 5. And the players make their way up the hill to the 6th tee, par 5. 520 yards will be reachable for both players in 2 shots. The most important aspect of this hole is getting that tee shot on the fairway. You've got the ocean again lurking closely on the right-hand side. Fairway bunkers down the left. And of course, we've seen many iconic moments on this 6th hole in the history of championship golf here at Pebble Beach. None more famous than Tiger Woods in the 3rd round of the US Open back in 2000, went from 185 yards out of thick rough down the end of the fairway on the right-hand side. He hoisted a 7-iron up over the trees and the cliff, hit it onto the green, putting for an eagle. Gary Koch, commentating at the time, said, "It's just not a fair fight." And it wasn't. He won that championship by 15 strokes. Viktor HOVLAND with the honor. Viktor has piped this one, but it's heading towards the fairway bunkers on the left. Landed in between them, bounced into that 2nd fairway bunker. So one would think unable to reach the green in 2 from there. It depends how far back he is from the lip. But a good opportunity here for Devon BLING to get a tee shot away into the fairway. Side. He started that way, way, way left. Unsure of what the play is here. That's up on the hill, 50 yards left of the fairway bunker. And it's kicking down to the right, across the path. And should come to rest just to the left of the fairway bunkers that Viktor HOVLAND has found. Interesting that a spectator there has told me that Devon BLING's plan throughout this championship has been to take it down the left-hand side, keep the spectators off the hill. Ned Michaels, very interesting that Devon would choose that route this week. I know when he plays in the US Open Championship here next year, he won't be able to do that because that rough on the left-hand side will certainly be much thicker, but perhaps not a bad play because it's a good angle from up there and you'll be able to see more of the green.
Well, when we were riding the golf course earlier in the week, we mentioned that might not be the worst place. It's just a matter of how deep the grass is and can you catch a good lie. But it takes the cliffs and the water completely out of play. If you catch a good lie, as you said, you can see the entire putting complex. You're on a more level slope. And everything working towards the hole, the wind will hold the shot up. But again, it depends on what kind of lie you're able to acquire. You and I, it was a long way back to that teeing ground. I'll let you have at it. Big hill. And I don't like to walk that much. But I stood under the tree just to the right of the teeing ground, about 30 or 40 yards short. The balls that these guys hit sound like small aircraft taking off as they go overhead, just pounding the ball, these two young men. This 6th, Ewing still home to one of the greatest shots that has ever been played. I mentioned it earlier. That 7-iron by Tiger, my goodness. You make anything of the fact that for Devon BLING, he has yet to hit a fairway?
I don't think he'd be too concerned because his last two tee shots have gone exactly where he's aimed. The fourth, the short par 4, hit that beautiful little fade straight at the flagstick and it just caught the greenside bunker. And this one, he hit it exactly where he was aiming. So I think he's synced up a little better with his driver now, Ned. Both of these players, long tee shots. We're making our way up to Viktor HOVLAND's ball. Let's see where he, in fact, is lying.
Just the little tricks that a good caddy can help with his player. He said, I'm going to put your bag in line with the ball. So Viktor, who's walked well back now, trying to create a visual imagery of his ball in a line to the whole location. All right, Ewing, ball below his feet, clean lie. Off a little bit of a downslope, but this hill that plays some 15 yards uphill, looking like Shaquille O'Neal, ready to reject anything that cuts it out a little bit thin.
Well, I did make the presumption after he hit his tee shot that found this fairway bunker that he wouldn't be able to reach the green in 2, but I was way off the mark. Viktor HOVLAND only has 203 yards to the middle of the green. It really is just visual intimidation, this second shot. Yes, he is on a little bit of a downslope. Yes, he is going up the steepest hill on the golf course, aka Heartbreak Hill. But it really is only a 5 or a 6 iron shot, Ned. All he's got to do is just pick the ball cleanly, maintain his height and his levels, and he should be able to hit this one in the middle of the green. But first to play will be Devon BLING from 215 yards over there on the left-hand side. And he does have the better angle.
And has drawn a nice lie. Should be a hard 4. Let it come off low and bound it up towards the green. Well, I can see the ball in the air. Looks like it's on a good line, but we really don't have any idea. Now, the thing I like about this shot with Viktor HOVLAND, he's hit this already. The second hole is almost the exact same shot. Same thing yesterday. And a lot of arms, very little lower body action. Clean strike, pure flush, tight draw. The gallery approves. We'll wait for those who are atop the hill. A little bit of clap coming, so perhaps on the green, some kind of good shot. Always a good indication to me of how players are swinging the golf club. Long fairway bunker shots. The ability to strike those purely lets me know they're on plane, they're on top of it, they're covering it well. When you're off, it's easy to thin it, fat it. Not that you know anything about that. We're going up the hill, so I'm going to black out. I'll be back with you in about 2 minutes.
Good shot. Thank you.
And I'll agree with everything you just said there, Ned, about fairway bunker shots. I think the way that Viktor HOVLAND has struck the 2 fairway bunker shots he's played so far on the second and the 6th, although the one on the second didn't quite find the putting surface. The shot that he had there straight up the hill, it was not easy at all. And I too am just trying to find my breath here. But a wonderful, wonderful golf shot from Viktor HOVLAND to find the putting surface. Looks like Devon BLING has just found the first cut of rough, 5 yards off the left side of the green, but we'll have a pretty straightforward chip. And really, from where they were, Ned, not too bad.
My sight is just coming back to me now. Oxygen getting into my brain. That hill will take your legs right out from under you. That was some kind of sweet 5-iron from Viktor up the hill onto the back edge of the green. Has that remaining for eagle. Curious little lie for Devon BLING over on the bunker. I actually kind of like the fact, Ewing, he's going to have to change his footwork and manipulate his setup. I think it's going to force the ball back in his stance. A little bit lower trajectory, get it on the green, almost roll it like a putt. So hard when the ball is wet and the grass is wet. You saw him wipe the dew right off of the face of the club. But when ball and club are wet, it comes off a little bit higher than the player might see and has no spin on it. And that's what happened to Devon BLING. This Pebble Beach, this seamless symphony of land and water, this 4-hour fountain of youth. If there's a more beautiful place on the planet than the 6th and 7th at Pebble Beach, I've yet to see it. But HOVLAND not worried about any of that now. It's all business. I used to call these, Ewing, lagging with intent to make. You're trying to get it close to the hole. You want it to go in, but make your opponent bury a 15-footer to answer the bell.
And I can tell you that Devon BLING's putt is every bit of 15 feet. Closer to 25. Viktor HOVLAND 35 feet behind the hole, putting from the fringe. Just inside the fringe. And this putt should move just a little bit from his right to left. Eagle putt. This to be 2 up through 6 holes in the championship match. And certainly a lot more aggressive than I anticipated there, Ned Michaels.
Yes, that was a mental error. That's not one to get aggressive with. Just get it down there and force Devon BLING's hand. If you're Devon BLING, you have to be thinking HOVLAND was just trying to get it close. And so the speed is what fooled him. And why that's important for BLING's putt is it means it will break more than it looks from right to left. For a birdie 4. punches the air. And isn't that match play? Now all the pressure back to Viktor HOVLAND on a green that's at the highest point of the property that Ewing sometimes can be the bumpiest of them all, simply just based on its exposure to the sun and the breeze.
Well, this hole already taking more twists and turns than a thriller, isn't it? And it's just, after the tee shot, you would have given advantage to Bling. After the approach, HOVLAND. Even after this first putt that he hit past the hole, advantage HOVLAND. Devin BLING rolls it in for birdie. This from 5 feet to half the hole to remain 1 up. The Norwegian's oblivious to pressure. His 32nd birdie of the week here at Pebble Beach.
Hovland remains 1 up.
32 birdies and an eagle in 97 holes. 1/3 of the holes he's played here at Pebble Beach, Ned, he's playing subpar.
Not what you want to hear if you're Devin BLING. The screws just continue to tighten. Before you tee off, if you know you have to birdie 1 out of every 3 holes just to compete, somehow you have to block that out of your brain. Hole location just several paces on. There's a little false front in a bulge from the bunker on the right side. A shot that comes up short right will spin back off the front of the green. 109 yards. Down breeze will be exceptionally difficult to get this close. Lob wedge, the same club that he used to get up and down from the ice plant on the fourth rather. To pull the string back, but pretty good shot, Ewing. It's going to be hard to get anywhere near this whole location today.
Especially downwind from such an elevated tee shot. I remember back in 2010 during the United States Open, this hole was only like 82 yards and the players couldn't keep it on the green downwind. Devin BLING, a magician with his wedges. So difficult to get the distance right on this little hole, Ned. But middle of the green, not really too bad a shot. And this has got to be one of the most beautiful and iconic walks in all of golf. To steal your famous line, Ned, a seamless symphony of land. Look at this stretch of ocean and mountains in the background. The layers of cloud and fog still hovering above those mountains. A quick little shout out to our legendary cameraman, Rob Rubino, doing a wonderful job on the grounds here at Pebble Beach, covering this final of the 118th US Amateur Championship.
Well, it's a team effort, there's no doubt. This USGA crew works tirelessly, up early and staying late. Couple tips of the cap and fist pumps for the work they've put in this week. That sea salt air is good for the soul. Now, Ewing, this putt both players face, especially for HOVLAND, typically hard to get it to the hole, back into the breeze. It plays flat, but it feels downhill, and at the very end, it actually scooches up a little bit. But for Bling, he will have access to the spine that comes off of the bunker, and that will help him gain a little speed like a race car coming out of the corner.
Got to hand it to these two players. Sweaters off. It is cold out here. It is very chilly. The breeze currently blowing about 5 or 6 miles an hour, but it is a very, very chilly one right off the water here. Temperature hovering in the high 50s right now. Warm summer's day back in Norway.
Well, this man is made of ice. He wouldn't feel it anyway. One up through 6. Not a putt you necessarily would expect to make. Double breaker. And that's 2 in a row that he's charged by. You and I once had a caddy here on the 7th who told me the ball breaks towards the water. You're fired. Completely encompassed by the Pacific Ocean, Stillwater Cove, Carmel Bay.
Doesn't everything break towards Indio?
Well, this will come off of the bunker, working from his back pocket to his front pocket. And will carry a little bit of speed as it goes down the hill. Nicely judged. Hovland still has 5.5, 5 feet for his par. Good news is he made a similar putt, a little bit shorter on the last hole. The bad news is this green can change its mind in a hurry. Very difficult to read the slopes here at the 7th.
Well, this would be the 4th consecutive putt that he's holed from between 4 and 6 feet.
For par to remain 1 up. Rock steady. That putter that he mentioned has betrayed him under pressure before seems to be behaving nicely today. The 8th hole, you can see right where the players walk, just to the left of the walkway, making the way up to the fairway, is an aiming stone. That's where you want to go. Long iron. A blocked iron Ewing still should not make it to the hazard. That is flushed right over the stone.
428 yards. The players looking to hit their tee shots about 240 yards ideally. I absolutely love Viktor HOVLAND's transition, the where he gets it, the position he gets it, starting down, the way he flattens that shaft out is a sight to behold. This man no slouch himself. Wonderful golf swing, beautiful ball flight. 3-iron. And that equally is impressive, Ned. Reminds me of you back in 2004. Many of you will know that Ned Michaels won the Philippines Open back in 2004 at Riviera Country Club just outside of Manila. Very similar golf swing, your transition, just a real sight to behold. Beautiful.
Thank you. It creates a lot of power. I'll have you know, in 2005, my driving average was 305 yards, Ewing, hitting almost 70% of the fairways. Yet I only won once. So what's that say about a man's iron play? HOVLAND, a little brush fire he's going to go put out as we make our way up to the 8th. And you get the sense now the nerves are shaken off. Maybe it was back on the 4th, the up and down from the ice plant for HOVLAND. And for Bling, the same hole. I said, okay, game is on now. A couple of birdies on 6, well-holed, shortish, but testy putts for both players. But seem to be in sync, seem to be well organized.
What about the size of the seagulls out here, Ned? Growing up on the ocean in Sydney back in Australia, I was very used to seeing thousands and thousands of seagulls on a daily basis. About a third of the size of these ones here at Pebble. Very well fed, no doubt. One of the things you notice when you come here to Pebble Beach for the first time is just the grand scale, the scope of the place, and the elevation changes. You don't quite get that impression when you're watching it on television. But there are some severe elevation changes, and one of them is the tee shot here on 8. Another is the approach here on 8.
Well, another element that is underappreciated when you're watching it on television is just how small these greens really are. On average, the smallest on the PGA Tour. And the 8th, a prime example, because the first third of this green, Ewing, is unusable. It's a false front. Anything that lands there, if it doesn't bounce forward, will matriculate its way back off the green. That's the bad news. The good stuff is if you hit the green, well, you've got a makeable birdie putt because it is so small. The fog really starting to come in at our backs now. Yesterday, from this vantage point, you could barely see the green. The wind quartering from the back of the players, working the ball left to right and towards the cliff and the ocean.
HOVLAND has 193 to the flag. He's got a 6-iron. This was Jack Nicklaus's favourite second shot in all of golf, and this heading about 6 feet left of the flag. Very good shot in the front half of the green. Anywhere on the putting surface, a very good effort here on number 8. And as you said, Ned, you don't appreciate the small size of this green until you actually walk up there. Now, Devon BLING, 16 yards closer. He has 177 yards. And he has an 8-iron out. In fact, can you believe it, Ned? He has a 9-iron. I thought this was an 8-iron. 177, a 9-iron.
I was getting ready to say that 8-iron sounded like too much club. Remember, on the 20th hole, which was the second hole in his round of 16 match, he feathered a 9-iron from 169. This 177, but plays 12 downhill. High into the air, drifting to the right of the hole. Will it catch the green? No, comes up short, bounds towards the bunker, but just a couple of feet.
Well, Devon BLING is going to have his work cut out. Just short ride of the bunker. We'll have plenty of green to work with. But once again, Ned, it's advantage to Viktor HOVLAND. And HOVLAND, he's really not putting a foot wrong. He's doing what needs to be done the last couple of holes. When you're in the box seat, when you're one up, when you're leading, it sounds like a cliche, but the idea is to hit it on the fairway, get it on the green. That way, you are forcing the hand of your opponent to hit excellent shots, not just play solid golf. You know that you're not going to be handed holes. You have to work for it and earn it. And at this stage, Devon BLING, behind in the match, behind the 8-ball, he's got his work cut out just to halve the hole.
An observation, and you've touched on it multiple times already, but Alan Bratton on the bag for Viktor HOVLAND, and top 25 PGA Tour event that was played here. He's played on tour, he's played at an exceptionally high level. He's coached some of the best players to come out of Oklahoma State, and tour players and U.S. amateur winners. So he knows what a good caddy's supposed to do. I've noticed on each hole, he's up in front of Viktor, and when Viktor walks up, Coach has got the yardage, he's got the hole location, he already has his hand on the club, he's pretty sure they're going to hit. So it helps the player's mind to simplify things. It's 162, went a little bit out of the left, playing 155. And then he won't give the club, he won't suggest the club, he'll let Viktor make the decision. But he's, boom, ready with it.
And that's a great point. And what else that does? That reaffirms the belief in the investment in Viktor. Viktor would be approaching the ball knowing that Alan knows every part of my game. He is invested in this. He is ready. He wants this as badly as I do. And you can see it in his eyes. Don't get me wrong, Devon BLING, he wants this just as badly. But Viktor HOVLAND and Alan Bratton, certainly a wonderful team.
Well, Ewing was saved at least half a shot here by not going into the bunker. Can use the hump back on the edge of the sand to his advantage now. Create a lot of loft, just as he's done. Might have carried it a little too far. Scampers past and will be left with a greasy little 8-footer coming back down the hill. You and I always felt like in my game, the one thing that I was confident in what I did and could hold my own against anybody in the world was putting. And now we've seen Viktor HOVLAND a couple of times run it past a good 3 to 5 feet. And when you start thinking about speed in your putting, you're done. It has to be a natural reaction. It cannot be, I'm hitting it too hard, I need to take a little bit off. Now this one uphill, working from left to right, will be a good indication of where he is mentally. It's a good stroke on the short one on back on 7, but now this some 20, 25 feet. This for birdie to go 2 ahead.
And again, Ned, I'll quickly pose you the question before he hits this putt. Is this one of those ones that he is lagging with intent to make? Or is he really trying to make this thinking, you know what, Devon BLING's going to make that, he's going to make it 4?
I think you're trying to make this one all day. In my opinion, that's a reaction to the 2 putts that he blasted past on 6 and 7. This is no basket of roses here. Very quirky little putt going down the hill. It weebles and it wobbles. Will it fall down? For par. It's the last thing you want at Pebble Beach. Par putts from above the hole.
Well, let's not forget, this is an unforced error from Devon BLING. And there you go, he's giving Viktor that putt. So Viktor HOVLAND will be 2 up through 8. Devon BLING and 9-iron into the green there from the middle of the fairway. That's going to be a tough loss for HOVLAND to take, for BLING to take that one. Resetting the scene here. On the 9th tee, the 525-yard par 4, Viktor HOVLAND with a 2-up lead over Devon BLING. HOVLAND winning the first hole, BLING winning the second hole with a bogey. From that point, HOVLAND's really been the man in control. Very important to get this tee shot in the fairway. 525 yards. Down the prevailing breeze. And this one is piped but heading a little bit down the right-hand side. It's landed on the fairway. At very worst, it may just roll into the first cut net, but like you said before, when you're standing 20 yards in front of these players, I wouldn't want to get hit by one of these balls. It is a jet engine. It is a 747.
Well, over to the right for HOVLAND. Not a bad place to be. The rough can get deep and a little bit sticky. But as BLING came to the teeing ground, some of his supporters were yelling for him like a boxer who had lost 2 rounds in a row. Trying to get their man pumped up this high, spinning, falling out of the air. This is well right.
Yeah, I think
Oh yeah, that's this hole.
yeah.
Well, they're trying to pump him up. Our Devon BLING supporters. You and I used to like to play a fade off of the tee. And I always felt when I was missing it to the right and spinning it and hitting it a little bit high, what I found was I wasn't completing my shoulder turn. So when you don't complete your shoulder turn, you naturally are going to come down on the ball a little bit steeper, so you'll hit down on it, swing a little bit more left than you normally would, imparting more spin, and then the ball catching this heavy air and drifting farther to the right than you would want. It's one of the hallmarks of his golf swing, shoulder turn, and I just wonder for Devon BLING, who's only hit one fairway today, is he a little tight and not quite getting it all the way back?
And that fairway he's hit was only with an iron on the previous hole. One of the hardest things to do under pressure, and bear in mind, this is Devon BLING's biggest moment in the sun. He has not been in this situation before. Now, Viktor HOVLAND mentioned he has been runner-up in 2 of the last 3 European Amateur Championships. He's played in front of an international audience. He's played in front of galleries. He played in the Porsche European Open a month ago, so he's a little more accustomed to dealing with crowds and television cameras, what's potentially at stake for winning a big championship. Of course, this is the biggest stage, the ultimate test of amateur golf. But you got to think that Viktor HOVLAND probably understands his idiosyncrasies a little bit more in intense situations. And that's something that you know, Ned, I know that we've discussed when you were playing that pressure-packed final round of the Philippines Open in 2004. You had called on your previous experiences even in mini tour events when you had been in contention and learned from the mistakes that you had made, and how to prevent that from happening again in those type of situations. And it's something that comes with experience. So for Devon BLING, this is certainly not going to be his last big moment or a defining moment in his amateur career. He has got a big, big future ahead of him. But being the first time in this situation, he's perhaps learning on the fly. He's learning as he goes what is happening under pressure. He has played so well in previous rounds that he really hasn't faced too much adversity so far.
Well, you may be more right than you know. It was the week before the Philippine Open qualifying school for the Asian Tour where I was leading going into the final round and let my guard down. Just thought, well, I've got my card, no big deal. Ended up shooting 74, finishing in a tie for 10th. What I didn't know was if you won the Q school, you got a number of European Tour starts. And at the time, that was a big, big deal. I woke up that final Sunday saying, this is mine. This is mine. You're not taking this from me. And that's the attitude now that BLING has to incorporate into his game. Has to bear down, put the mouthpiece in, and go to work. Well, Ewing, he's drawing a pretty nice live ball, way below his feet, of course. This is actually a ball that's so far below your feet, you would normally say, he's going to block it out to the right. Quite the contrary. The heel will dig in, and the tendency is to pull it left into that front guarding bunker.
He's got 237 yards to the flag. And an indication there of just how spinny and mishit that tee shot was. 525 minus 237. 288 off the tee for BLING downwind off an elevated tee. He would typically be hitting that tee shot 320, 330. He's got a 4-iron. He's going to have to step on this one to get it there. 227 to the front. And I just lost sight of that one, perhaps heading slightly left. Just a little left and a little shy. And a big, big opportunity for HOVLAND here. 211 yards to the flag. Out of the first cut of rough, he's got a 6-iron. This just a beautifully crisp strike. It hasn't left the flagstick. Landed just short of the green. It has trundled up there some 20 feet below the hole. Ned Michaels, Viktor HOVLAND, looking like he could be showing Devon BLING a clean pair of heels.
To me, for Viktor HOVLAND, a glimpse into the soul of this man. Played his fellow countryman, Christoph Bratton, earlier in the match play brackets. A man he knows well, and the only other Norwegian in the field. Took no mercy, 7 and 6, dismissed his friend. And to me, Ewing, that says, I'm here to win. Yes, we're friends, but as soon as the peg goes in the ground, I don't only want to beat you, I want to pummel you.
On that note, I had a great conversation about a month ago at the US Senior Open with Peter Jacobsen. We were sharing Payne Stewart stories. I was listening to him and Mark O'Meara talk and wax lyrical about their friend Payne Stewart, the late great Payne Stewart. Peter Jacobsen said to me, Payne Stewart, of course a two-time winner of the US Open Championship, he said Payne was the nicest, the friendliest man off the golf course. Put him on the golf course, he wanted to rip your heart out. He would slit your throat to win. And that's really the hallmark of a lot of these top performers and top players and these competitors. They love the competition, but it's all about the victory. They want to win, born to win. They're here to win. And Devon BLING, Ned Michaels, in his 5th bunker on the front 9. By now, he should have a good idea how to play these shots, but once again, so far below the putting surface, we'll only be able to see the top of the very top of the flag. And with Viktor HOVLAND in there 18 feet below the hole for a birdie, he knows that he's got to put this within gimme distance.
Well, like we said, from that ball below his feet lie to the right of the fairway, you would think the miss would be to the right, but that heel digs in, the face shuts down, and you end up here in the sand, some 12.5 feet below the putting surface. And it's like a playground slide once it lands on the green. You're not stopping until you hit the ground. It will be exceptionally difficult to get this anywhere near the hole. Ball below his feet. Saving grace, Ewing, is a little bit on the upslope, but just the same. The play here is way out to the left and see if you can't get a little bit of love from Mother Nature and gravity. Been a couple of bunkers out here. We talked to Cole Hammer yesterday on the upslopes where there just wasn't much sand. So watch impact.
Well, Ned, he keeps hitting bunker shots too far. He's hit nearly every single greenside bunker shot about 15 to 20 feet past the hole. Now, bear in mind, he is short-siding himself and not leaving too much green to work with. But these greens this morning are very firm. And another trait, too, when you have an elevated bunker shot, when you're going uphill, it's not easy to spin the ball. I believe it will be HOVLAND first to putt. And again, this is a very similar situation to the last hole. Yes, BLING has a longer par putt this time, but HOVLAND's in a position where, of course, if he holds this, he wins the hole, but 2 putts potentially will win the hole. So do you think by now, with a 2-up lead, his mindset changes? Do you believe that deep down he thinks 2 putts good enough here, or is he trying to hold this up the hill?
Well, BLING hasn't really given him any indication, except for the putt back on 6, that he's rolling his pill all that well. He's probably just trying to get this close, but the same sense he hasn't been putting his best either. His speed control off. And you could see the putter head visually decelerate through impact. Long backswing and then slow down through the hitting area. And when you do that, typically they don't go in. But that may have been what he was trying to do, Ewing. Just force the hand now of Devon BLING.
Well, Viktor HOVLAND, bogey, double bogey, excuse me, at the 2nd. Birdies at the 4th and the 6th. He's even par through 9 holes, which is solid. It's not spectacular, but it's solid. Devon BLING misses this. Viktor HOVLAND is 3 up. Now remember yesterday, Devon BLING's opponent, Isaiah Cylinder, shot 4 under par and lost. So it just goes to show in match play, it can be situational. You only have to play as well as what you're allowed to.
For par, for the half, to remain 2 behind. Was up and out early. And Ewing, that's one of the great tests of this ultimate championship, is the mental test. Yes, you have the physical components of it as well. But 7 birdies through his first 14, and now only 1 for Devon BLING. Reminder, you can watch the rest of the